I get mad every time I see people complain about Seth Jones because whatever. This contract right now isn't great. If I'm a team, if I'm another GM, I'm picking up the phone on Seth Jones and just seeing, I know it's so unlikely, but just seeing, could something possibly happen? He's 29 years old. He's got 6 more seasons at a $9.5 million cap hit, full no move. And I just want to give a little backstory here that he went to Chicago a couple years ago to bridge the end of Taves and Kane and whatever the next era of the Blackhawks was going to be. The Blackhawks did not know that they had Connor Bedard coming. They did not know they were going to immediately crater as soon as he got there. That's obviously not Seth Jones's fault, but he got there after they'd missed the playoffs, but they were like, whatever, we've had some injuries. Let's make one last go of it.
They just desperately needed a good defenseman, and they were like, we will do whatever it takes to get one in the door.
Nobody
Which was
saw...
stupid at the time because you could see the demise coming for the Blackhawks. They had been trying to keep that door open for years at that point, and you were like, it's probably just not going to happen. So stupid on their part to go after Seth Jones and throw the bank at him.
So I feel like everyone takes it out on Seth Jones, and this just is not the situation in his defense that he thought he was signing up for either. Granted, you signed for $9.5 million a year. People are going to say, well, who fucking cares? You got a $9.5 million cap hit, full no move. You got everything you want. You're playing in a great city, whatever. $9.5 million is very steep right now, and it's going to be bad going forward, even with the cap going up. So just in crazy fantasy land, I want to at least bring up the idea of, if you're a team that needs defensemen, are you calling up the Blackhawks and saying, look, you cannot buy out that contract down the road. At some point, you're going to need to be giving Connor Bedard $15 million a year. You don't want to have bad contracts on your books. Would you eat any money on this deal and give us Seth Jones?
I don't see it happening. Like,
of course I don't see it happening, but we're being creative.
I think it's bad business for the Blackhawks to be eating money like for the next 6-7 years.
The biggest retained cap hit in league history was done by the Blackhawks. $5.25 million of Patrick Kane's contract. There have been 5 cases of $4 million or more being retained. Only one of them, Ryan Johansson, had the team picking up multiple years. You can't just take, if you retain money on the cap hit, you're retaining the life of the contract, right? So you're doing it every year that has coming up. If the Blackhawks hate this contract as much as Blackhawks fans do, would they eat money on multiple years?
No.
6 years?
Say
it's 2. Say it's 2. You wouldn't. $2 million if you're trying
7 years,
for 6 years.
6 years, that's still a long time.
$2 million. If you think that the contract is so bad, $2 million is fucking nothing.
But who thinks the contract is bad? But the contract is, I think it's a survivable contract if Seth Jones is like your second or third best defenseman and you are putting together a competitive team. Like their Blackhawks should be in no rush to get rid of Seth Jones with this contract right now, because who the fuck else are they paying?
So, well, who the fuck are they? They're going to be paying guys in 2-3 years. So that's what I'm saying. Like, do you want, I'm kind of being devil's advocate here because I don't think Seth Jones is as bad as everybody thinks he is. But this contract right now, when you're in a full rebuild, full tank mode, a team calls you and says, hey, we'll take this guy off your hands, just eat a couple of $1 million on it. I think, like, if I'm Carolina, who has no defensemen signed, they have 3 defensemen signed past this year, and none of them are signed past next year. And you could add Seth Jones giving up nothing, and he's going to cost you $7.5 million a year. And now Seth Jones is in a better situation, a more competitive situation. I don't know. This is an outside the box sort of thing. It's unlikely.
Yeah.
But
I'm just like curious.
If you're both sides, I'd do that.
I guess, like, I don't know if I would if I was the Blackhawks, honestly. Like, I don't know if I'm giving away Seth Jones for nothing.
I like your view on this, that you're more Seth Jones than any of
The
these.
Blackhawks should be aiming to add more good players, not subtract the good players that they have. And I do believe that Seth Jones is a good player. Is he a $9.5 million player? No. Is it extremely disappointing that he's not producing offensively? Yes. But like I'm not giving up on Seth Jones as a player, even if it means having to eat $9.5 million for the next several years until you put together a real respectable team.
I'll tell you what, once the Blackhawks get to the playoffs, or if I'm one of these teams that I think hypothetically should at least be calling and seeing. So wait, so then do you agree that you would be the team saying, like, calling and saying, like, hey, will you give us Seth Jones?
Yeah, I mean, like I'd check in on it, like
Yeah.
especially if you're going to get them to retain
Let's say
several
it's $2
million dollars.
Let's say it's $2 million.
If you
and
get
you have
Seth Jones for like $7.5 million bucks, like as a third or fourth defenseman, you're in pretty good shape.
Because once you get to the playoffs, you can complain about Seth Jones all you want. Once you get to the playoffs, what do you want?
A guy who's going to eat minutes.
Lanky. You want big, rangy. That's always Seth Jones. He's rangy, which just means he's tall.
A workhorse.
But you want a big, rangy defenseman who can just fucking fleece out half hour a night.
So chat says, I'd rather have Seth Jones on the team rather than pay for him to not be on the team.
That's how I feel if I'm the Blackhawks.
Correct.
Because another thing is they don't have any veteran defensemen. They have like
right, exactly. Like
Zaitsev.
Yeah, but like it's
Connor Murphy.
Yeah, but like
not veteran defenseman you want to play. Endearing.
No,
derogatory.
I think that's a bit mean, but like yeah, the Blackhawks need veteran presence on that team, both up front and on the back end. So yeah, I'm not rushing to get rid of Seth Jones.
Okay, so this
I just don't think it's going to happen.
The conversation gave you the willies for a little point. You had to wrap your brain around it, but you got there. Where if you're a team that's looking at defensemen and you're not going to get Noah Hannafin, and Noah Hannafin doesn't want to come to you, et cetera, you want a guy with term. I'm at least seeing. I'm just seeing if the Blackhawks don't like this contract as much as Blackhawks fans and every talking head doesn't like this contract.
We all silly like the mayor.